welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Philip Toledo, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. It's Tuesday evening here, February 2, 2021, and tonight, as always, we have updates from several of our correspondents across North America. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
COVID variants have Alberta health officials worried.
Eliza Gonzalez-Maglicmont in Washington, D.C.
U.S. pharmacies to start as COVID-19 vaccination sites.
Carlo Valdez in Union Township tells us about New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy expanding small business lease assistance grant program by $5 million. Anna Cui in Las Vegas reports about Governor Sisolak highlighting Nevada's COVID-19 vaccination efforts. Then we'll head to Julianne Fiesta in Delano, California.
Outdoor dining in LA returns.
Angel Membrere in Sacramento reports about California sequencing the COVID-19 variants. Then we'll speak with EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Black History Month in Virginia.
Jane Rojo in Houston reports about Texas Governor Abbott delivering his State of the State address, announcing that the state is brimming with promise. Plus, for EBC Sports, Ken Cruz in Fort Washington, Maryland reports about Patrick Mahomes sharing how he relaxes during the Super Bowl prep week. And for tonight's virtual roundtable, February 3 is National Women Physicians Day. And tonight we will talk about inspiring women doctors we know. Our coverage begins now. According to the United Nations spokesperson, Stephanie Dujarric, the UN envoy to Myanmar, Christine Schreiner-Bergener, told the Security Council she strongly condemns the recent steps taken by the military in the country. Following an emergency meeting on the country's military coup, Dujarric says she urged council members to collectively send a clear signal in support of democracy in Myanmar. Take a look.
In her briefing to council members, the Secretary General's Special Envoy, Christine Schreiner-Bergener, strongly condemned the recent steps taken by the military, and she urged council members to collectively send a clear signal in support of democracy in Myanmar. The Special Envoy said that given the apparent commitment by the military to safeguard the rule of law following the November 8th elections, this turn of events was surprising and shocking. She said she'd been in contact with the military leadership as recently as one day before the takeover. They said that communication had been ongoing with the government and Union Election Commission. The Special Envoy also called for the immediate release of Daw Aung San Suu Kyi and President Win Myint and dozens of political leaders, family members, and activists who have been detained. She reiterated that this is a serious blow to democratic reforms in Myanmar. It will be crucial for all to refrain from violence, fully respecting human rights and fundamental freedoms, she said, stressing that we cannot allow for full backsliding since Myanmar opened up in 2011.
During her daily press briefing at the White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki says there is an ongoing review of concerning actions by the Russian government, which includes the treatment of Alexei Navalny.
There is an ongoing review. We announced, I think it was early last week, of a number of the, reported or concerning actions, I should say, by the Russian government, which includes the treatment of Alexei Navalny.
Psaki also says the Florida shooting in which 2 FBI agents died was a, quote, terrible tragedy.
As you all have seen reports this morning of the FBI confirmation that 2 FBI agents are deceased and 3 are wounded in a shooting in Florida. The 2 wounded agents were transported to a hospital and are in stable condition, as some, I think, have reported. President Biden was briefed this morning by Homeland Security Advisor Liz Sherwood-Randall. This is obviously a terrible tragedy.
The White House press secretary comments on the country's immigration policy.
So we are trying to repair the damage and the horrific actions of the prior administration by trying to do everything we can to reunite these kids with their families. But it remains a dangerous trip. It remains a time. This is not the time to come to the United States. We need the time to put in place an immigration process so people can be treated humanely.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Senate on Tuesday confirmed Cuban-born Alejandro Mayorkas as the next Secretary of Homeland Security, the first Hispanic and first immigrant to lead the department that oversees immigration and border issues. The confirmation, on a modestly bipartisan vote of 57-43, comes as President Joe Biden takes steps to reverse some of predecessor Donald Trump's hardline anti-immigration rules, and amid calls to implement reforms in border policies and the status of millions of undocumented migrants. The 61-year-old Mayorkas, a former U.S. attorney who was born in Havana and arrived in the United States as the infant son of refugees, held senior posts in the Department of Homeland Security during Barack Obama's administration. Now, for today's COVID-19 numbers update, according to the Resource Center, the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, Tuesday, February 2nd, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 103,712,000. The top three on the list of countries with recorded cases are the U.S. with more than 26,406,000, India with more than 10,766,000, and Brazil with more than 9,229,000. Sadly, the virus has now already claimed more than 2,248,000 lives worldwide. The top three countries with the most number of COVID-19 related deaths are the United States, once again, with more than 446,000, Brazil with more than 225,000, and Mexico with more than 159,000. Emirates Airlines said on Monday it would make daily deliveries of coronavirus vaccines to countries with low storage capacities as part of an initiative to accelerate global jab distribution. Deputy head of Emirates Cargo Division Nabil Almor said the Dubai-based company, the Middle East's largest carrier, will use both its cargo and passenger fleets to deliver vaccines to countries without the means to stockpile vaccines. Take a look.
المبادرة تستهدف أغلب الدول النامية اللي موجودة سواء كانت في الشرق الأوسط، في أفريقيا، في شبه القارة الهندية، وطبعا هذه دول كلها دول أساسية وبيتم إن شاء الله توصيل اللقاح إليها تقريبا بشكل يومي.
The Dubai Media Office said in a statement on Sunday the alliance will support the WHO's COVAX initiative, the globally pooled vaccine procurement and distribution effort to disperse 2 billion vaccine doses. Dubai said the alliance will work with pharmaceutical manufacturers, forwarders, and government agencies to transport vaccines, some of which have to be kept at very cold temperatures. Now for more COVID news, after a pressure campaign on Israel to provide the jabs, Palestinian officials said Tuesday the Palestinian Authority began vaccinating health workers in the occupied West Bank against COVID-19. Israel, which is carrying out an aggressive inoculation campaign for its own citizens, has faced mounting global pressure in recent weeks, including from the UN, to help Palestinians in the West Bank and Gaza Strip access vaccines.
نحن ابتدأنا الآن بالكادر الطبي في مراكز علاج كورونا. سنستكمل المشوار للكادر الطبي بشكل عام ومعهم كبار السن والمرضى، وسنعلن عن ذلك وعن مراكزنا. بدأنا اليوم وغدا سنرسل إلى قطاع غزة جزء من هذه اللقاحات حتى لو كانوا 2000 جرعة، لأن في البداية نحن نريد وأعطينا الأولوية الأولى للكادر الصحي في كل فلسطين، سواء في الضفة الغربية أو قطاع غزة أو القدس. لكن هذا اللقاح هو لقاح موديرنا الأمريكي، حصلنا عليه تبرع من إسرائيل، وهذا اللقاح يعني يعتبر آمنا حسب مواصفات منظمة الصحة العالمية. غدا أو بعد غد سيصلنا لقاح الروسي، وسنستكمل باللقاح الروسي هذه الكامبين. وأيضا
Israel's defense ministry said Sunday that it would send 5,000 vaccine doses to the Palestinian Authority to vaccinate medical workers. In Florida, the state will require proof of residence for those getting a COVID shot in a push to thwart so-called vaccine tourism. What is vaccine tourism? It's a move experts say could also leave thousands of undocumented immigrants, homeless, and low-income people in the lurch. The decision came after residents of other states and even people from abroad were reportedly arriving in Florida. which currently vaccinates anyone over age 65 with an aim of gaining easier access to immunization. While the state has administered more than 1.3 million doses, the process has been slow and chaotic. In a public advisory issued Thursday, Florida's Surgeon General Scott Rivkees indicated that applicants must show proof of residence, such as driver's license, utility bill, or letter from a bank, in order to be immunized. Apart from snowbirds, people from northern climates such as New England and Canada who head to the southern state for the winter, Florida is home to a substantial population of immigrants, with 1 in 5 residents born abroad. Up next, we'll have reports from Edmonton, Alberta, Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, Nevada, and Alexandria, Virginia. Eagle News America continues. Stay with us.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Please, stay safe.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. In Alberta, Canada, health officials are worried over spreading COVID-19 variants. Joining us this evening is Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness with the details. Thomas?
Thank you, Philip. Well, the more contagious strains of the COVID-19 virus are weighing heavily on the minds of Alberta public health officials. You know, from an initial 3 cases of the UK variant a couple of weeks ago, the province now has 50 cases of it, plus another 7 cases of the South African variant. Alberta Chief Medical Officer of Health, Dr. Deena Hinshaw, says the majority of cases are linked to travel, but she's concerned about these 8 cases. They have no such link. And that means community transmission is likely the source. And that's the problem. Now, 4 of those cases are linked to an outbreak at a daycare. Community transmission is concerning because these variants are more contagious than their original cousins. Now, infection rates in the variants are 30 to 50% higher, according to experts. And if we look at what happened in the UK, this variant has swept over that country like a tsunami. It's caused record high mortality rates, and it's definitely something we want to avoid here in Alberta. Hinshaw says because of this, the quarantine requirements for people infected with the variant are stricter.
In order to reduce the risk of transmission from household contacts, we are ensuring that any new cases or contacts linked to variants of concern are aware of hotel isolation and quarantine options. If cases choose to stay home during their isolation period, their household contacts will now need to stay at home as well in quarantine until 14 days have passed from the end of the case's isolation period, or a total of 24 days. Given how easily this variant is spreading in homes, this enhancement is necessary to prevent spread in the community.
And again, the public health message that we're getting from the experts is to reduce personal contact. Now, as new case numbers continue to drop and hospitalizations slowly decline, Alberta is set to ease a few more restrictions next week. Further reductions of public health measures, though, will be based on hospitalization rates in the province. So while we continue to wage war with this virus, I wish you all good health. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Thomas. Now, it's interesting you mentioned, this new variants, they're spreading. We have to be careful, but we're also starting to reduce some of the restrictions maybe. So what other measures are being taken to combat the spread of these new variants there?
Well, they're really concerned in Alberta here about the variant being so contagious. They've actually formed a dedicated contact tracing team to deal with these variants, because the key to controlling the spread of these variants is tracking down who the infected person might have come into contact with. And like I said, because these cases are more contagious, the province wants to zero in on them and contain them quickly. And as we heard from Dr. Hinshaw, quarantine requirements much tighter. The quarantine period, again, now 24 days for the variants, up from 14. Philip?
As soon as you said the number 24, I was just thinking, what do you do in your house for 24 days? Thomas, what would you do?
I've been under house arrest because of my wife insisting I stay home now for almost a year. Well, I think it's been about 10 months. But yeah, 24 days. If you're stuck in the house with 3 kids, and it I would imagine could get tense at times.
Right. All the more reason to take good care and make sure you're following all of these safety precautions. Right, Thomas?
Right, Philip.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll look forward to catching up with you in our virtual roundtable later tonight.
Okay, and stay safe.
Thank you. Pharmacies across the country joined the Biden administration in its mission to administer 100 million shots in 100 days by participating as vaccination venues in the coming days. In Washington, Eliza Gonzalez-Maglicmont joins us tonight. Eliza?
Thanks, Philip. Good Tuesday evening to you and a great Wednesday morning to our viewers on the other side of the globe. Now, increasing vaccine supply and offering vaccines through select pharmacies nationwide are just some additional steps the White House announced today as part of its national strategy to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. These actions aim to meet President Joe Biden's goal of administering 100 million shots in 100 days. As part of its plan, the White House will increase weekly vaccine supply to states, tribes, and territories to 10.5 million doses nationwide beginning this week. This is a 22% increase since Biden took office. The administration reiterates its commitment to maintaining this as a minimum supply level for the next 3 weeks. Now, the White House also announces that starting February 11, people eligible to receive the COVID-19 vaccine will have the opportunity to get the shot at selected pharmacies across the U.S. through the Federal Retail Pharmacy Program for COVID-19 vaccination. The program is a public-private partnership with 21 national pharmacies in over 40,000 pharmacy locations. White House's COVID-19 response coordinator, Jeff Zients, says this will provide more sites for people to get vaccinated in their communities, and it's an important component to delivering vaccines equitably. Now, Zients says because of supply constraints, the program would initially be limited to 6,500 participating pharmacies nationwide before eventually expanding to 40,000. Now, major chains like Walgreens, CVS Pharmacy, Walmart, and Rite Aid are among those participating in the program. Now, Philip, for some weather update, it is 34 degrees Fahrenheit or 1 degree Celsius here in the nation's capital, although it feels like 24 degrees Fahrenheit. In Washington, Eliza Gonzalez-Maglicmont, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Eliza. Those weather numbers seem similar to here. It's cold. I hope you're staying warm. Just out of curiosity, how are the COVID-19 numbers there in the nation's capital?
Well, Philip, as of yesterday, the district's reported data includes 130 new positive COVID-19 cases, bringing the district's overall positive case total to 37,138. Now, the district also reported that 5 additional residents lost their lives due to COVID-19. All 5 are aged 63 and older. Now, tragically, 921 district residents have lost their lives due to COVID-19. Now, currently, the district is in the yellow phase or phase 2 of its reopening metrics. And this means moderate community spread, moderate health and public health capacity, and fair community engagement. Now, for vaccination numbers, as of January 30, the doses delivered here in DC are at 83,125, while the doses administered are at 62,219. That's at 74.8%. And an additional 10,975 doses are expected to arrive this week. Philip?
Thanks, Eliza. Thank you so much for your report, all that good information. We'll be looking forward to speaking with you here at the end of our broadcast for our virtual roundtable.
Same here, Philip. Thank you.
Now, in New Jersey, small businesses get a $5 million expansion on lease assistance. Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez in New Jersey with the report.
Thanks, Philip. Governor Murphy announced on Tuesday that an additional $5 million has been designated to the Small Business Leave Emergency Grant Program. The program, which already has $10 million to help about 1,000 businesses, helps small business owners impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Governor Murphy said this program has helped nearly 1,000 small business owners pay their leases during the unprecedented economic fallout from COVID-19. The Small Business Lease Emergency Assistance Grant Program is one of many we have stood up over the past year in an effort to help small businesses weather this storm. And speaking of the storm, here's a short video and update from Winter Storm Orlena.
The state of emergency remains in effect, and I reiterate that unless you need to be out on the roads, please stay in. Stay safe and stay warm. Let the road crews, power crews, and first responders have the roads to themselves. Further updates as well as preparedness information are all available online at ready.nj.gov.
And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 2,811 new positive PCR tests, pushing the total to 629,360. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting 71 new COVID-19 deaths, pushing the total to 19,455 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Carlo. Hope you're staying safe and warm as well. Still to come, we'll have stories from our correspondents in Las Vegas, Delano and Sacramento, Corpus Christi, and Alexandria, Virginia. You're watching Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Happy Pips! Catch me on Jano Gibbs Entertainment's Happy Time. That's on Wednesday at 12 noon only here on Net 25.
Happy time, happy time.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Yan ang problema sa pag ang magkakalaban puro winners. Napakahirap i-judge. Ay,
Ay, nako, yung confidence mo, ang galing-galing. Control yung voice, ang galing. Nako, kaya nga napatayo ako eh. And another tayo ulit.
Lahat naman talaga sila mahusay eh. Pero syempre, pipiliin namin kung sino talaga yung pinaka-the best.
Nakapikit lang ako. Bihira akong binukas ang mata ko kasi parang dinuduyan ako, parang gusto ko matulog.
I like your performance.
Ngayong Sabado, the search continues para sa mga kababayan nating may natatanging galing sa pagkanta. Sino-sino ang mga bagong kalahok na magpapakitang gilas sa kantahan? Nako, malalaman po natin yan dito sa biggest talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Ito po ang Taging sa Nagaling Part 2 Singing Edition.
Hey there, Arnie Aquino here at Hatley Castle, one of the filming locations for the X-Men series. Don't forget to tune in to Digital Nest only on Net25.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Polito in Atlanta. Governor Steve Sisolak of Nevada commenced the state for its COVID-19 vaccination efforts. In Las Vegas, Bureau Chief Anna Cui joins us tonight. Anna.
Hi, Philip. Yes, based on the release statement today, Nevada Governor Steve Sisolak is happy to highlight the state's COVID-19 vaccination efforts. According to federal data from Monday, provided by an update from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, Nevada has received 324,275 doses of the vaccine and has administered 248,748 doses, or, as he puts it, 76.7% of doses received in the state. But, you know, Philip, that's actually lower than what's being reported in the, because according to the Nevada COVID-19 Task Force, as of Sunday, over 253,000 doses of the vaccine have been administered and reported to WebIZ, which is the Nevada's statewide immunization information systems. We're aware of the lag of information, you know, reporting between the state and the federal agency when it comes to reporting the numbers. According to the same statement, Nevada is currently leading all states and territories in FEMA Region 9 when it comes to percent of doses administered. Sisolak recognized that these numbers are a result of a statewide, I mean, it's really a huge collaborative effort to use every resource available to make this unprecedented vaccine rollout work. Not only with all the local partners, but also with the latest additional federal assistance from the Biden-Harris administration that the state has received. However, you know, the numbers is still not where he wants it. Nevada is still not getting the number of doses that he'd like to see, and will continue to advocate for more doses for the state, and will increase support as more are delivered, you know, to us. We've had the National Guard and members from FEMA helping on the grounds, not just with logistics, but even with actually administering the vaccine. And more importantly, too, just as important is getting that data entry backlog caught up, especially here in Clark County. It's coming down. It came down from 18,000 to, you know, now just a little over 10,000. So it's getting there. The latest effort here in Clark County in regards to the vaccine rollout, the Southern Nevada Health District's second dose COVID-19 vaccination clinic opened today at the Las Vegas Convention Center. The site currently has the capacity to administer approximately 1,400 second doses of the vaccine each day, and it's open Tuesday through Saturday in the Central Hall of the Convention Center. Before I let you go, Philip, as of today, I want to just give you a quick update of the COVID-19 statistics here. Nevada has over 279,000 cases, with the 14-day rolling average of daily cases being just a little over 1,000. The test positivity rate over the last 14 days is down to 17.4, and the Nevada Hospital Association continues to report, continues to see a downward trajectory in the number of hospitalizations. So overall, we're continuing to see that, that curve going down. So we hope to continue to see that, Philip. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you.
Thanks, Anna. And that is such good news to hear that the curve is hopefully going down and will continue to do so. In your report, you mentioned the second doses are now being given out at the convention center there. Any idea how many total second doses have been administered there in Nevada?
Yes, so according to the Nevada COVID Task Force, as of Sunday, there are over 37,000 second doses administered. It's still not a lot, but we're hoping that with the second dose, specifically being given at the Las Vegas Convention Center, it will get better. And it's better now, actually. We last time we reported, there was a challenge with scheduling the second dose, but now they have an integrated, appointment system where you can actually schedule your second dose as you receive your first dose. So it can only get better, Philip.
Absolutely, we can only go up from here. And it's interesting too, just the way that the vaccines are set up, where you need 2 doses. It makes the statistics and the reporting a little muddy, right? I know just here in Georgia the other day we were trying to figure out how many people were actually vaccinated, because the numbers that you see, they don't really say if it's doses or complete vaccinations. So exactly. So, but we'll hopefully we like I said, the feeling here, even at work today, is just we're starting to see really that light at the end of the tunnel with everything, with the numbers going down, with just overall there's also the additional treatment for the COVID-19 infections with the monoclonal antibodies that's available here in Las Vegas. So more positive things, Philip. Absolutely, and we're always looking for positive and optimistic looks and views at what's going on in our way.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Anna. We'll look forward to catching up with you here at the end of our episode.
Thank you, Philip.
We have good news. If you're a diner in Los Angeles, outdoor dining reopens in your city. Eagle News correspondent Julianne Fiesta reports.
Thank you, Philip. Outdoor dining in Los Angeles County has returned and are currently open to the public with the ordered safety precautionary measures in place. According to the guidelines set by the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health, restaurant workers must always wear both the face shield and face covering when serving customers in the outdoor dining area or in contact with them in customer service places. There can only be a maximum of 6 persons seated per table, and they all need to be in the same household. The outdoor dining tables has to be spaced apart for a minimum of 8 feet distance. In addition, all television screens or monitors that air or broadcast programs are to be turned off. These safety measures are in place to ensure everyone's public safety and continue the progress being seen as a direct result of the administrations of the COVID-19 vaccines. Los Angeles County officials caution residents to be aware of the various risk levels when deciding to dine outdoors in various eateries. The lowest risk when dining out is drive-through, delivery, curbside pickup, and takeout of the ordered food. Risk levels increases after that if deciding to dining outdoors with your immediate family, although the tables are at least 8 feet apart from one another. Although required safety measures are in place for restaurants and food places in Los Angeles, it is equally important to make sound decisions when determining to dine out. Make sure to avoid eateries that are not complying with these health orders. In Delano, California, Julian Fiesta, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, Julianne. Now, as Angelinos there are trying to make a decision if they want to go and partake of some of this outdoor dining, could you give us an update of what the COVID-19 situation is there in LA County today?
So, Philip, as of today's date, the Los Angeles Public Health Department reports 205 new deaths and 3,763 new COVID-19 cases. The county has surpassed 17,000 COVID-19 deaths with 17,057 deaths and a total of 1,124,558 positive coronavirus cases. Over 7,000 new COVID-19 deaths were added in about a span of around a month since December 30, when there were 10,000 COVID-19 deaths, compared to a total of 7,000 deaths from February to October 2020. Since the administration of the COVID-19 vaccines, there has been progress seen with a decline of daily new positive cases, signaling a decrease in the virus transmission rate. The current numbers are still higher than the data recorded last year in September. There are now 5,259 hospitalized due to the COVID-19, with 27% capacity in the intensive care unit. Philip?
Thanks for that great and thorough update, Julianne. We'll look forward to speaking with you about your inspiring female physician here at the end of the show.
Sounds good.
COVID-19 variants have surfaced in parts of California, and health officials have started sequencing them. In Sacramento, Bureau Chief Angel Membrere explains more.
Thank you. California's regional stay-at-home order has been lifted in light of the updated ICU capacity projections for California, showing improvements statewide for the next 4 weeks. Dr. Mark Galley also discusses updates with the COVID-19 variants. Currently, California is sequencing the different variants, which has been seen in different parts of California, like Southern California and the Bay Area. Let's listen to more details.
We're continuing to actively sequence the virus here in California, building up capacity to do even more. We're watching the West Coast variant that we talked about a few weeks ago. Here we're seeing, over 1,000 total variants between these two slightly different mutations of the same West Coast variant across our state. We reported both in Southern California, parts of the Bay Area, Santa Clara in particular, where this variant was being found. Again, unclear about its exact role in either making people sicker because they have the variant strain, or its impact on things like vaccine or infectiousness. So stay tuned as we continue to learn more there. And then the UK variant, a variant that we first talked about, continue to see cases here in California, although not rapidly increasing in the number that we're finding, still at about 133 cases identified across 5 counties, largely in the southern part of the state. So we'll continue to watch this. I know many of us believe this is an important detail, watching not just do we have COVID in our state, helps us through testing, but this sequencing element, understanding what type of variant or what type of COVID strain we're contending with, and will that change how we address and behave in any of our pandemic response elements.
Dr. Mark Galley also reiterated the importance of wearing masks and the proper types of masks we should wear to protect one another from COVID-19. Let's listen.
It's an important time to talk about fundamentals. Masking matters. We've been talking to you since nearly the beginning of our pandemic response about the use of face coverings, surgical masks, for some, the importance of an N95 respirator. These are all different ways to protect ourselves, our communities, our households from COVID transmission. We know they're one of the most powerful tools we have to reduce COVID transmission. They protect both ourselves as a wearer and others around us. And what they do is block or filter out the virus that's carried in aerosols. So what do you need to know different today? That we really want you to pay attention to the material that your mask is made out of. Some masks, more surgical masks or procedure masks, often the blue masks with the white ties. I have one here. Many of you have them or have seen them around. They're a high quality mask that does do more often than face coverings. They often come with a metal tab that you can firmly put it around your nose. Another important aspect is making sure that your mask covers both your mouth and your nose, that it fits snugly around your mouth and nose and around the rest of your face so that air doesn't easily move in and out of your masked areas.
In Sacramento, California, Angel Manberry, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Angel. We'll have a few more reports from our correspondents in Alexandria, Virginia, and EBC Sports, not to mention our virtual roundtable discussion. You're watching Eagle News America. Stay with us.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Happy Peeps, abangan niyo po ako sa Happy Time. Ako ang inyong celebrity on delivery. PM is the key sa Wednesday na yan at 12 noon dito lang sa Net 25.
Happy time, happy time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. Governor Greg Abbott in Texas delivers his State of the State address, priding the Lone Star State as one brimming with promise. In Corpus Christi, Jane Rogel files this report.
Thank you, Philip, and howdy from Sugar Land, Texas. On Monday, Texas Governor Greg Abbott delivered his State of the State address from Visionary Fiber Technologies in Lockhart instead of the House chamber, so lawmakers can avoid from having to gather en masse during the pandemic. He announced that the state of our state is brimming with promise. He began the speech addressing Texans and families who suffered loss during the COVID-19 pandemic, stating, "We pray that their families will heal from hurt of losing a loved one. We also pray for all the Texans who are still recovering from COVID-19, and we are grateful that this week more than 2 million Texans have recovered from COVID." Governor Abbott also mentioned that Texas remains the economic engine of America and is a land of unmatched opportunity, highlighting that just in December, Texas added more than 64,000 new jobs and that Texans are returning to work, school, and regular routines. And with each passing day, more vaccines and immunity is helping Texas return to normalcy. He also announced 5 emergency matters that the legislature can vote on within the first 60 days of session that started January 12. The priorities include expanding broadband internet access, supporting law enforcement, changing the bail system, ensuring what he described as election integrity, and providing civil liability protections for businesses that were open during the pandemic. He also asked lawmakers to pass laws that would strengthen civics education in Texas classrooms, further restrict abortion, and make Texas a Second Amendment sanctuary state. On issues related to the pandemic, Governor Abbott called for legislation to permanently expand telemedicine and to prevent any government entity from shutting down religious activities in Texas. He announced how he will continue to work with the legislature to find ways to navigate a pandemic while allowing businesses to remain open. He closed his address stating, "Just as Texans have united and put their differences aside to support one another through the pandemic, we in the capital must also come together to work on their behalf. We must seize this opportunity to make our state healthier, safer, freer, and more prosperous for all who call Texas home." Meanwhile, I hope you're staying safe and healthy in your part of the world. This is Jane Rogel in Sugar Land, Texas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
February is Black History Month, and the state of Virginia launches activities for citizens to recognize and bring value to the contributions of African Americans throughout history, especially those from Virginia. In Alexandria, Eagle News correspondent EJ Gonzalez has the details. EJ?
Thanks, Philip. February is Black History Month in the United States, and here in Virginia, Governor Ralph Northam issued a proclamation yesterday that invites all Virginians to reflect on the historical contributions of African Americans not only to our state, but to the entire nation. This year marks the 95th observance of Black History Month in the country, dating back to 1926, which was originally founded by a Virginia native, Dr. Carter G. Woodson. The theme for 2021's National Black History Month is the Black family, representation, identity, and diversity. Governor Northam and his administration, along with several community organizations, have culminated a number of activities for citizens to take part of in order to recognize and bring value to the contributions of African Americans throughout history, especially those from Virginia. Activities will be taking place all month long throughout the state and include board meetings, discussions, lectures, museum tours, culinary arts, music exhibits, and more. Some activities do have admission fees, but many are free and virtual for everyone to enjoy. Of course, with the ongoing pandemic, the in-person activities will observe proper social distancing with limited attendees. The Virginia Tourism Corporation will also be highlighting artists, exhibits, and other events that celebrate Black history in Virginia. Governor Northam made the following statement on what Black history means, and he says directly, quote, "Black history is American history and should be acknowledged and celebrated continuously as fundamental to the strength and diversity of our Commonwealth and our country. The celebration of Black History Month provides an important opportunity to tell more accurate and comprehensive story of our past and honor the legacy of countless Black Americans that have shaped our history as we continue working to build a more inclusive, equitable, and just future for all. We must also reaffirm our commitment to lifting up the people and places that for too long have been marginalized or forgotten. From business and science to sports and the arts, I encourage Virginians to find ways to recognize the many contributions and achievements of African Americans, not just this month of February, but every month of the year." In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thanks, EJ, for that story from Virginia. Now, I know that you're also an EBC sports correspondent. Many times here on Tuesday, we see you reporting about that. Do you have any updates that you want to share from a sports perspective?
Yeah, so actually I do. Some exciting news for NBA fans. Before the season began, we knew COVID would still be interfering with proper scheduling and events. And that meant that All-Star Weekend, which features the fans' favorite players competing against each other, would be up in the air. Well, just today, it was announced that there still may be hope. There were talks that advanced, and we could see an All-Star event in early March. Of course, it's not yet confirmed, but reports are saying that plans are developing for a one-night event to take place in State Farm Arena in Atlanta. That's your neck of the woods, Philip. And include the NBA Skills Challenge and the traditional All-Star Game. Voting already did begin, and of course I casted my vote for our hometown All-Star Bradley Beal, who leads the league in scoring, by the way. But yeah, anyway, after news that the plans for the All-Star Game to be held in Indianapolis was postponed earlier because of the pandemic, it's great to hear that the NBA is nearing a decision for an alternative.
Thanks, EJ, for that report, and hopefully we'll have some time to catch up here in just a few moments with our virtual roundtable discussion.
Yep, thanks, Philip.
Now here's a little bit more sports. This is the best time of the year for football fans. We're on the verge of Super Bowl Sunday. And like many times in the past, this year's Super Bowl is a matchup of quarterbacks. Kansas City Chiefs' Patrick Mahomes, who has the potential to be one of the greatest, and Tom Brady, who many already consider as the greatest of all time. And for those of you that didn't know, when they say GOAT, that's what they're talking about. EBC's very own Ken Cruz was there when Mahomes took some questions from the media. Here's Ken with the details.
It's Super Bowl week, and this Sunday, Patrick Mahomes' Kansas City Chiefs defend their title against Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Tampa Bay, Florida. During the week leading up to the big game, players traditionally sit down with the media and answer all sorts of questions from reporters around the world about anything football and non-football related. This year, in the midst of the ongoing pandemic, the players and coaches still have their media days, but everything is done virtually over Zoom. The star quarterback and reigning Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes sat in an empty room, faced a camera and computer, and answered questions from reporters around the world. We got lucky and had a chance to ask Patrick a question. Here it is.
Hey, Patrick. So I know you mentioned that you've had 2 weeks, or you have 2 weeks to prepare, and but you do have some off time, right? I think you said last year something about watching live PD. What are you using to get some entertainment in?
The only thing I really did is last week when we had a couple of off nights, I played a little bit of Call of Duty. But other than that, I just kind of sit around, study a little bit at the house with Brittany, and then we watch TV and whatever's on. I might catch a movie or watch Law and Order or Chicago PD or whatever's on TV at the time.
Now, Patrick did say that most of the time during these 2 weeks of preparation had been devoted to studying film, talking with coaches, and envisioning all potential situations that can occur during the big game. But it is important to take breaks here and there to reset and clear your mind. In Patrick's case, it's Call of Duty. Stay tuned for more Super Bowl updates throughout the week. For Eagle News, Ken Cruz, we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Ken. Now, February 3 is National Women Physicians Day. So tonight, let's talk about inspiring female doctors that we all know. Why don't we start there with Thomas, you there. Who is an inspiring women doctor that you know?
Well, the doctor I wish I could have, but unfortunately she works for the government, is Dr. Deena Hinshaw. You saw her a little bit earlier in my report. When she was in family practice, she had a reputation as a caring and compassionate doctor. She took some additional training in public health, became our chief medical officer of health. And, you know, all throughout this pandemic, she's had that calmness when she's dealing with some very touchy issues, and definitely avoids the politics of the situation. I guess she would be our answer to Dr. Fauci.
Well, thanks, Thomas, for that. How about Eliza? How about you? Who is your inspiring female doctor that you'd like to talk about?
Well, Philip, I'd like to recognize a very good friend of mine. Her name is Dr. Minerva Navarro. She is a graduate of the University of Santo Tomas in Manila, Philippines. She had her residency at UC Irvine Family Medicine and her fellowship at the Stanford University of Geriatric Medicine. Presently, she is the regional chief for geriatric medicine for the Palo Alto Foundation Medical Group there in California. And she said ever since the pandemic began, there has never been a downtime at work, but that she's happy she gets to do what she needs to do as a doctor and still be a wife to her husband, Lenny, and a mother to her son, Brandon. So, yay, Minerva. Happy Women Physicians Day.
Yay, congratulations, Dr. Minerva. EJ, how about you? What can you share with us?
Yeah, and just like Eliza mentioned, or the doctor, she's saying that they don't have a lot of downtime. So a lot of that also backs up to the nurses. So I wanted to shout out my aunt Roslyn. She's one of the nurses, and with the pandemic, they're heavily relied on. So to all the nurses, especially the women nurses who are out there helping the doctors, we also appreciate you today.
Absolutely. And then that's why we have our round of applause at the end of every episode. Anna, how about you? Who is an inspiring female doctor that you can share with us tonight?
Hi, Philip. So I want to recognize Dr. Tracy Wakefield. She's an internist here in Las Vegas. I had the privilege to work with her for about 6 years when I was still, doing clinic nursing, and she's inspiring because she really cares for her patients. She spends a lot of time with them, and I remember she would prep her charts the day before, looking at lab results and looking at any consultations that her patients have had, so that she can talk to them about it, when they come in for the visit. And she was really big on education, and really empowering the patients to take an active part in their healthcare. So she was big on education, and I learned a lot from her, and I miss her. So Dr. Wakefield, happy Women Physicians Day today. Philip?
Thank you, Anna. Julianne, how about there in California? Who is your inspiring female physician?
So I don't know any female physicians personally, but like EJ, I do know a lot of nurses. I have an aunt as well who was a nurse. She's retired now, so she's getting some of that well-earned rest. And I actually have a nurse at my pediatrician who has been with me my whole entire life. She gave me my shots when I was a newborn child, and she basically saw me grow up all the way up until 18, and I unfortunately had to leave my pediatrician. And I actually also graduated in biology at UC Irvine as well, so that I can become a female physician, hopefully in the future. So here's hoping that I can be one of those inspiring female physicians to someone else later on.
Absolutely, Julianne, and that's great.
Oh, Julianne!
We're looking forward to celebrating you on Female Physicians Day here. Maybe not next year. I know med school takes
probably not next year, but hopefully soon.
Soon enough. We're very confident that you can do it. And it's interesting that you mentioned pediatrician, because that's kind of where my mind went immediately. When we were talking about inspiring female physicians. My son's doctor, Dr. Colhoun, he's our firstborn, and so it's just really awesome to see, as a new parent, when you take your child to the doctor, whether it be for a checkup or, because, they're sick, you're worried, you're frantic, and, you got a lot of questions, but, she always manages to both, calm me, but then also calm down my son. And, just anybody that, for all of our healthcare professionals, especially the female physicians that we're, recognizing today, that's really a skill, and you're such an important part of our community, which is why, like I alluded to earlier at the end of every episode, we have to salute and thank all of our healthcare workers, our first responders, essential workers, everybody out there on the front lines doing their best to help all of us get through these challenging and, of course, interesting times of this pandemic. So let's give you a round of applause. Everyone join me. We truly appreciate you. Well, that's it for today's Eagle News America. We thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that wherever you are in the world, you're staying safe and you're staying well. I'm Philip Toledo. We live in interesting.